Welcome to Lento English, ready to level up your English. Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
One introduction. Learning English can feel like a long journey. Many people want to speak and write English well. Sometimes English grammar seems hard. People think it has many difficult rules, but grammar is not just a list of hard rules. It is a key. This key helps us open the door to clear communication. When we understand grammar, we can share our ideas better with others. We can understand what others say more easily too. This book will show you a simple way to learn English grammar. It is a step-by-step path. Anyone can follow this path. You do not need to be a special student. You just need to take small steps every day. Each step is easy to understand. We will learn one new thing at a time, building our knowledge slowly. Imagine building a strong house. You start with one brick, then you add another brick. Soon you have a strong wall. Learning English grammar is similar to this. We will start with very small parts. Then we will put them together carefully. Each small step makes your English stronger. These easy steps will help you feel more sure about your English. You will gain confidence. You will start to speak and write with more ease. You will find that even small improvements can lead to big feelings of success. This journey will help you use English well in your daily life. Let's start this simple journey together to understand English grammar better. 2. Learning an and the. Chapter 2 helps you learn about 3 small but important words, a, an, and the. These words are called articles. They are like small keys that open the door to clearer English. Understanding them is a good first step in your learning journey. First, let us look at a and an. We use these words when we talk about one thing that is general, not specific. Imagine you are talking about any apple, not a special one. You would say an apple. The rule for choosing between a and an is simple. We use a before words that start with a consonant sound. For example, you say a book, a car, or a table. These words begin with consonant sounds. We use and before words that start with a vowel sound. Vowel sounds come from the letters e, I, o, u. For instance, you say an apple, an elephant, or an orange. The sound at the beginning of these words tells you to use an. It is not always about the letter itself, but the sound. For example, you say an hour because H is silent and the word starts with an O sound. However, you say a university because U here sounds like U, which is a consonant sound. This small rule helps your English sound natural. Next, let us learn about the. We use the when we talk about a specific thing. This means the listener knows exactly which thing you are talking about. For example, if you say, I see a dog, it means any dog. But if you then say, the dog is black, you are talking about that specific dog you just mentioned. The listener now understands which dog you mean. We also use the when there is only one of something or when something is unique. Think about the sun or the moon. There is only one sun and one moon in our sky, so they are specific. If you are in a room with only one door, you can say, please open the door. The listener knows which door you mean. Using the makes your communication very clear. It tells the listener, we both know this thing. To remember these rules, you can do a simple daily practice. Look around your room right now, pick up an object. Say its name using a, an, or the. For example, you might see a lamp. You can say, this is a lamp. The lamp is on the table. You might see an old chair. You can say, I have an old chair. The chair is comfortable. Do this with 5 or 10 objects every day. This small game helps you practice using articles in real life. It builds your confidence little by little. These small words are your first step to speaking and writing English with confidence. 3. Making simple sentences. To speak and write English clearly, you need to make sentences. Sentences help you share your ideas. Every sentence needs certain words to be complete and understandable. The first important type of word is a noun. Nouns are words for people, places, or things. Think about the world around you. Your friend is a person, so friend is a noun. Your city is a place, so city is a noun. Your phone is a thing, so phone is a noun. Other examples include teacher, London, and table. These words help us name what we are talking about. The second important type of word is a verb. Verbs are action words. They tell us what the noun is doing. For example, if you are talking about a bird, what does a bird do? It flies. So fly is a verb. If you are talking about yourself, you might eat or read or sleep. These are all verbs. A sentence needs a verb to show action or a state of being. Making a simple sentence is easy when you have a noun and a verb. You just put them together. The noun usually comes first and then the verb. For example, birds fly. Here, birds is the noun and fly is the verb. Another example is I eat. I is the noun, a pronoun acting as a noun, and eat is the verb. You can also say she reads. She is the noun and reads is the verb. These are complete thoughts. To make your sentences more interesting and give more information, you can add more words. Often, you can add another noun to show what the action is about. For example, instead of just I eat, you can say I eat an apple. Now we know what you are eating. Instead of she reads, you can say she reads a book. The words an apple and a book add more detail to the action. This helps others understand your message better. Learning new nouns and verbs is a good way to improve your English. A helpful trick is to use small cards. On one side of a card, write a new English word like flower or sing. On the other side, you can draw a simple picture of the word or write its meaning in your own language. Look at these cards every day. This simple practice helps you remember the words and build your vocabulary. The more words you know, the more sentences you can make and the better you can communicate. 4. Talking about today. This chapter will help you talk about things you do every day. You will learn to speak about your habits and facts that are always true. This is called the present simple tense. It is very useful for daily conversations. We use the present simple to talk about routines. For example, you can say, I wake up early every morning, or we eat lunch at 1 o'clock. These are things you do regularly. We also use it for facts. For instance, the sun rises in the east is a fact. Birds fly is another fact. These actions happen always or generally. For most subjects like I, you, we, and they, the verb stays in its basic form. For example, I read books. You play soccer. We learn English. They work hard. The verb does not change its ending. It is simple to remember for these subjects. However, there is a special rule for he, she, and it. When you use these words, you usually add s to the end of the verb. For example, you say, I walk, but he walks. You say, we sing, but she sings. If the verb ends with ch, sh, x, s, or z, or o, you add es. For example, he watches TV. She washes dishes. It goes fast. This small s or e's is very important in the present simple tense for he, she, and it. Many new English learners remember this rule with practice. Now let's learn how to make negative sentences. To say that something does not happen, we use do not or does not. We often shorten these to don't and doesn't. You use don't for I, you, we, and they. For example, I don't like cold weather. They don't live near here. The verb after do stays in its basic form. You use doesn't for he, she, and it. For example, he doesn't eat meat. She doesn't speak French. Remember, the verb after doesn't also stays in its basic form. For example, you say he doesn't eat, not he doesn't eats. Finally, we will learn how to ask questions in the present simple. To ask a question about daily habits or facts, you start the sentence with do or does. You use do for I, you, we, and they. For example, do you like coffee? Do they work on Saturdays? The verb comes after the subject and is in its basic form. You use does for he, she, and it. For example, does he play tennis? Does she live in a big city? Again, the verb after the subject is in its basic form. You never add s to the verb in a question when you use does. Practicing these forms will help you talk about your daily life easily. Try to tell a friend about your routines using these new rules. Ask them about their habits. This will make your English conversations much better. 5. Talking about yesterday. When we want to talk about things that are finished, we use the past simple tense. This helps us share what happened yesterday, last week, or even many years ago. It is how we tell stories about the past. For many verbs, called regular verbs, making the past form is simple. We just add ed to the end of the verb. For example, work becomes worked. So if you worked yesterday, you say, I worked yesterday. Other examples include play becoming played, as in she played a game last night. Watch becomes watched, like we watched a movie. Start becomes started, as in they started their project early. Finish becomes finished, for example, you finished your homework quickly. Listen becomes listened, like he listened to music. These verbs follow the same easy rule. However, some important verbs are different. These are called irregular verbs. They do not end in ed. Instead, their past forms change completely. For example, go becomes went, so you say, I went to the store. See becomes saw, as in she saw her friend. Eat becomes ate, like we ate pizza for dinner. Come becomes came, as in they came home late. Take becomes took, for example, he took a photo. Have becomes had, like you had a good time. Make becomes made, as in I made dinner. Buy becomes bought, like she bought a new book. It is helpful to make a personal list of these irregular verbs and learn a few new ones every week. This way you will slowly remember them. To make negative sentences in the past, we use did not or its shorter form didn't. This is easy because didn't works for all subjects: I, you, he, she, it, we, and they. The important rule is that after didn't, the main verb goes back to its simple form. For example, you say, I didn't go to the party, not I didn't went. Or she didn't see the email, not she didn't saw. We can also say they didn't finish their work. To ask questions about the past, we start the sentence with did. Just like with negative sentences, the main verb stays in its simple form after did. For example, did you finish your homework? Did he call you yesterday? Did they work late? This structure helps us ask about completed actions clearly. Practicing these forms daily will help you talk about your past experiences with confidence. 6. Using words to describe things. We have learned about nouns and verbs. Nouns name people, places, and things. Verbs show actions. Now let us learn about words that describe nouns. These words are called adjectives. Adjectives help us give more information about the things we talk about. They make our sentences much more interesting and clear. Imagine you are talking about a car. You can simply say, "I have a car." This sentence is correct, but it does not tell us much. What kind of car is it? Is it new or old? Is it big or small? Is it red or blue? Adjectives answer these questions. When you add an adjective, you can say, "I have a new car," or "I have a big red car." The words new, big, and red are adjectives. They describe the noun car and give us a clearer picture. One very common and important rule for adjectives is their position in a sentence. Adjectives usually go before the noun they describe. This is a key point to remember for correct English. For example, we say a beautiful flower, not a flower beautiful. We say a small house, not a house small. Always put the adjective before the noun. Here are some more examples to help you remember. A happy boy, not a boy happy. A cold drink, not a drink cold. A tall tree, not a tree tall. A difficult lesson, not a lesson difficult. An interesting book, not a book interesting. Adjectives can also come after the verb to be. Remember the verb to be. It changes to am, is, are, was, or were, depending on the subject and the time. When we use adjectives after to be, they still describe the noun or pronoun that is the subject of the sentence. For example, the flower is beautiful. Here, beautiful describes the flower. The house was big. Here, big describes the house. I am happy. Here, happy describes I. They are tired. Here, tired describes they. The weather is cold today. Here, cold describes the weather. Using adjectives makes our speaking and writing much richer and more colorful. When you tell a story or describe something, adjectives help the listener or reader imagine exactly what you are talking about. Instead of simply saying, "There was a dog," you can say, "There was an old, friendly dog." This helps people see the dog in their mind and feel its nature. Instead of saying, "I ate pizza," you can say, "I ate a delicious hot pizza." This makes the pizza sound much more appealing and real. Adjectives add detail and emotion. Learning new adjectives is a very good way to improve your English vocabulary and communication skills. Try to notice adjectives when you read simple stories, listen to English songs, or watch shows. Pay attention to how they are used. When you learn a new noun, try to think of an adjective that can describe it. For example, if you learn the word mountain, you might also learn high mountain or snowy mountain. Practice using adjectives every day in your own sentences to make your descriptions more vivid and interesting. This will help you communicate your ideas and feelings more clearly and effectively to others. 7. Connecting your ideas. You have learned to make many good sentences in English. Now it is time to connect your ideas. This helps you make longer sentences. It makes your speaking and writing flow better. We use special connecting words for this. They are like bridges between different thoughts. 3 very useful connecting words are and, but, and so. Learning to use them well will make your English sound more natural and easy to understand. First, let's look at and. We use and to add information. It connects two similar ideas or things. Think of it as putting two things together. For example, if you like two different fruits, you can say, I like apples and bananas. You do not need to say, I like apples, I like bananas. Using and makes it one smooth sentence. Another example is connecting actions. I woke up and ate breakfast. This tells us two things you did. You can also connect two descriptions. The dog is big and friendly here and connects two adjectives about the dog. It helps you give more details easily. Next, we have but. We use but when we want to show a different idea. It shows a contrast or something surprising. Imagine you want to do something, but there is a problem. You can use but. For example, I want to go outside, but it is raining. The first part tells us your wish. The second part tells us why you cannot do it. It is a different idea. Another example, he is rich, but he is not happy. Here, rich and not happy are contrasting ideas. But shows this difference clearly. It helps you express more complex thoughts simply. Finally, let's learn about so. We use so to explain a result. It shows why something happened. Think of it as cause and effect. One thing happens, so another thing happens. For example, I was hungry, so I ate an apple. Being hungry was the cause. Eating an apple was the result. Another example, she studied hard, so she passed the test. Studying hard was the reason for passing the test. So helps you link actions to their outcomes. It makes your sentences explain things clearly. Using and but and so helps you make your sentences longer and more interesting. You can tell a full story with these words. Instead of many short sentences, you can have fewer, longer sentences that connect ideas well. This improves the flow of your writing. It also makes your speaking sound more fluent and natural. Keep practicing these 3 words every day. Try to use them when you talk about your day or write a short text. You will notice your English becoming much smoother and clearer. 8. How to practice every day. You have learned many new things about English grammar in these chapters. Now, it is time to talk about how to remember them and use them easily. Learning grammar rules is a good start, but using them every day is the real key. It helps you make a habit of speaking and writing English well. This is how you will not forget what you have learned and how you will get better and better. Practice is the most important part of your learning journey. One great way to practice is by reading. Try to read something in English every day. You can start with very simple stories, like books for young children. These stories often have easy words and short sentences. They help you to see how words and grammar rules work together in real sentences. As you get more confident, you can read short news articles online. Look for news websites that write in simple English for learners. Reading helps your brain to see English grammar in action. It also helps you learn new words naturally. Another helpful way to practice is by watching and listening. Try to watch English cartoons or TV shows. Cartoons are often good for beginners because the language can be slower and clearer. When you watch, try to use English subtitles. This helps you to connect the words you hear with the words you read. Listen carefully to how people speak. You will often hear the grammar rules you have studied. For example, you might hear someone say, he works at the office, and remember the S rule for he. If you hear a new phrase or a useful sentence, write it down in a small notebook. This helps you remember it later. The most important habit you can make is writing. Writing helps you to use all the grammar rules and new words you are learning. It makes your brain work to create sentences. You do not need to write long stories. Just get a small notebook and write a few sentences every day. You can write about your day, what you ate for lunch, or your plans for tomorrow. You can also write about your feelings or things you like. For example, you might write, "Today I woke up at 7 o'clock. I ate an apple for breakfast. Then I went to work." This simple writing helps you use the present tense and the past tense. It helps you use nouns, verbs, and adjectives. It shows you how much you can do with the English you know. Your plan for learning English should be simple. Learn a little bit every day and then practice a lot. Do not be afraid to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when they are learning something new. Mistakes are a part of the learning process. They show you what you need to practice more. Just keep going. Take small steps every day and you will see big improvements. You have already come a long way. Keep practicing and you will become a confident English speaker and writer.